My name's Brooklyn. I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and I think we both know why you're here, so let's just get into it. My face is clean. Let's get started. So getting into my video, I figured I am going to film basically just an updated everyday makeup routine today. One of my first videos I ever filmed on this channel was an everyday like an everyday makeup routine video. People seem to enjoy it and I enjoyed filming it, so I thought it's been a few years since I filmed that video, and because I haven't posted a video in a while, it's a good kind of transition video kind of to get into it. Getting started, I have already primed and moisturized my face. Next, I'm just going to go in with my NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray. Sounds kind of silly to start with a setting spray. I find that it helps me to blend my makeup when I apply a setting spray before my makeup. It almost acts as a lubricant to kind of blend it all over. I usually do like 3 or 4 sprays. You don't want to soak your face, but basically when you feel like your whole face is misted. Blah. I ate a little bit of that, so that was fun. So my first step, or I guess really like 4th step for makeup, the first actual makeup product that I use is the Maybelline New York Master Concealer. It says new. I've been using this for literally like years. I didn't want to like put an exact number on it because don't quote me, but I've been using this for years. It's not new anymore, so that's funny. But anyway, so I use this concealer in the color 10 Fair. It's like a squeezy chew bottle, so what I do is I just squeeze a little bit of product onto the back of my hand. I like to use the back of my hand because it's warm and it helps the product to warm up a little bit, and it makes it a little bit easier to blend onto your face. And with concealer, a lot of people there's a little unspoken argument over, do you use brush, do you use finger, or whatever, do you use beauty blender? On a client, of course, I would never use my fingers. I like to use just my fingers to blend out the concealer on myself. So I usually just have like a dollop of product on the back of my hand, and then I'll go in and kind of let it out a little bit almost on my hand. Sometimes it's nice when you let the concealer oxidize slightly on your hand while you're applying the concealer to your face, because when the concealer oxidizes, it actually covers just that little bit more. You don't want it to oxidize too much because then it's just gonna get patchy and kind of chunky. So basically where I like to apply the concealer, you'll see right under my eyes and just a tapping motion, pretty standard, taking a little bit. I basically take more product for each almost section of my face, and I apply it quite heavily in those sections, just first to map out where I'm putting that product first. Quite a bit around my nose as well. You can see I get quite a bit of redness and irritation here. I usually kind of almost connect that to the under eye concealer. I don't mean to be using my middle finger and flipping you all off. Anyway, taking that on the eyelid as well. And it's really important to kind of get it into this inner corner of the eye. A lot of people have a lot of darkness and depth kind of in that area. And doing the same thing to the other eye as well. And then I'm just gonna go in and add a second layer to any areas that I feel need more coverage. So without blending out that old concealer, I'm gonna add another layer to these specific areas. So usually for me, it's like in the very inner corner of my eyes, and then here on my nose where my skin gets quite irritated and I have a lot of redness. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blend out all this concealer in just a light tapping motion with a fair amount of pressure. And you can see I'm kind of working it almost into a triangle above the cheekbones. This helps with contouring later. Always looking away from your finger when you're blending. You wanna be really careful when you're tapping with your finger especially, because sometimes the oils of your finger can almost lift the product off of your face, and that's when you get patchiness with blending. But you never wanna swipe because that's gonna give you an uneven blend. If you're hearing tapping, it's my sister's dog just like walking all over the floor. Anyway, and this is basically the amount of coverage I do on an everyday basis. I don't necessarily have every imperfection, every discoloration covered, to each their own. Next, I am going to go in and cream contour. Now, I don't like to set my concealer before I cream contour because I am trying to avoid interference with powder and cream products before the cream products are blended. Once you apply a powder product over a cream product, it is now set and you can't really blend it out anymore without it looking kind of chunky. So I'm gonna keep this concealer unset. It may crease slightly, but if it does, we can always do touch-ups after we do contouring. So next I'm going to take my Kat Von D Shade and Light contour palette. This is a cream contour palette. I believe this is actually the medium palette. So I usually use the lighter side of the palette because I do have a lighter skin tone. I'm going to go into the lightest contour shade in the palette. It is called Chestnut. And I'm going to take this flat, it's a very dense face kind of shader brush, and I'm going to just dip into that color. And I'm going to apply that to my cheekbones and everywhere that I would contour. So when I contour, I like to go in, basically I feel the bone of my cheek and just go right under that. And because I like to make the cheekbone look very strong and defined, I don't usually curve that line for myself. Sometimes I do that for clients who want a softer look, but I don't necessarily go for a soft look on an everyday basis. I do typically want my makeup to look more harsh and defined. Another little trick that I like to do, because I do have fine, somewhat thin hair, and because my hairline does come back slightly, I like to just paint that contour shade slightly into my hairline, and it helps just to add a little bit of shadow to create the illusion that there is thicker or more hair there. Typically when I'm doing my makeup, I would have my hair up, but I'm trying to look somewhat fabulous and not crazy. So I'm a very place and then blend product artist. Some people like to apply a very small amount of product and build up and do layers. That's totally up to you. I think just because I'm kind of impatient, which is why I do the place and blend, I like to kind of plan everything I'm doing before I actually go ahead and blend. Sometimes you can get lost in the sauce, you know? Okay, so on my cheekbone, a lot of people blend up almost like a bronzer. That's totally fine if you like to do that. Because this is a cool cream contour shade and I want to create almost legitimate shadow. If the bone is here and the sunlight was coming this way, it would create shadow coming downwards. So I like to just pull that color down slightly. And you can see how it creates the illusion of a very sharp cheekbone. But as you can tell, that line still is not blended out. So this is when the blending up comes in. When I'm blending up, because I don't want that line to be very harsh, we want it to be very soft, kind of cascading into the cheekbone. We're going to now use circular motions going up and then kind of simultaneously, you know what I'm trying to say, pull down and blend up as you go. That was painful. Kind of bringing it almost all the way to the corner of the mouth, but not quite. Circular motions going up and dragging motions going down. And then on the nose, we're doing kind of the same thing. The nose, I usually end up going kind of back in with a little bit of concealer, but I'm pulling kind of down towards the outside of the nose first to create some shadow. And then sometimes I kind of just go back into that concealer and kind of like what we did before and just pull it into the contour shade. Okay. Now that we've contoured, we can go in and set our concealer. You can see it has creased a little bit under the eye, so I'm just gonna go ahead with my finger and fix a little bit of that. And then, next product I'm going to be using is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte 16-Hour Powder. The only reason I bought this is because the Stay Matte Maybelline powder was not in stock, and they literally have the same exact ingredients, and they're owned by the same company, and I paid more for this one. Just saying, just saying, just saying. But it's fine. This one I think actually had maybe a tiny bit more product, so that might have been why it was more, but I'm just complaining because they didn't have my regular color, my regular product in stock. So I'm going to take this powder and a kind of fluffy powder brush, and apply that everywhere where I applied the concealer only. I do kind of apply it quite heavily under the eye because I really want that to be set. That's where I get a lot of creasing. Around my nose. I usually set the sides of my nose as well, and I do like to set my jaw as well. Sometimes the contour shade can come down a little bit too far and you don't want to create shadow here. You want that to protrude slightly. I like that anyway. And I didn't apply any concealer on my forehead, but I do like to apply a little bit of powder onto my forehead because sometimes I do get a little bit oily in that area. So this is where we're at. Okay, next I'm going to powder, contour, and bronze, and blush, and all of that good stuff. So I used to use a contour shade by NYX. I don't remember what it was called, but I want to say it was called Taupe. The color has been discontinued, and I'm quite sad about it because it was the only contour shade that I felt really worked for my skin tone. I have cool toned skin, but I am quite pale, so a lot of contour shades still end up looking quite orange on me. So the closest color I could find in my collection to this blush slash bronzer slash contour shade, once my last one tragically shattered, is from this Too Faced Super Fun Night palette. This was part of a holiday collection from, I want to say 2014, possibly 2015. My beautiful mother bought me this palette. Now I'm going to go into the eyeshadow shade, which eyeshadow, blush, bronzer, whatever. They're all basically the same. Some of them are pressed differently. Some of them have slightly different ingredients, but a powder's a powder. You can make it work. So the color, which you can see I use quite frequently, is called Oh What Fun. It is a kind of gray violet toned color. This color isn't gonna work on every skin tone. Your contour shade is based on your skin tone. I can talk more about that in another video. This is getting lengthy. I don't wanna get too into it. I am taking my beautiful unicorn brush, which my best friend bought for me, and I don't know why. I swear I have so many brushes, and this is like my favorite brush that I use every day for my makeup. But anywho, this is a kind of angled contour brush, and I'm just going to dip into that color ever so lightly, avoiding the black eyeshadow that is directly beside it. You hear the little pitter patter. Hello, Kovu. I swear to God, if you take the cow print down, I swear to God. I don't know what it is with this dog. For some reason, he hates cow print, and every day he takes the fabric down. Chill, dude, chill. Right there where you would see a lot of shadow. You don't want to apply this all the way across the face because, like I said, it is like violet gray toned. And this goes for any contour shade. You don't want to use too much of it all around your face because they are typically cool toned, and it can make you look a little bit, it can take a little bit of the life out of the skin. I guess there's no better way to put it. And I like to apply quite a bit of the shade into the hairline because, like I said, I do have thinner hair. And then the shade I apply just the tiniest amount on the sides of my nose as well. Okay, so you can see that shade isn't really blended out, but I like to keep it that way. I'm gonna kind of use my other warm shades to help blend it out instead of trying to blend it out on its own and then spreading too much cool tones around my face. So next I'm going to go into one of my favorite bronzers of all time, one of everyone's favorite bronzers of all time, the be all end all Hoola bronzer. This is warm toned, but I like it because it is a completely matte bronzer. So it's nice to kind of transition your cool contour shade into your bronzer while still creating a little bit of depth because it is matte. So I'm just going to take that color and kind of work my way up the cheekbone, blending that contour shade in. And you can already see that color really warming up the skin. Now, I don't like to apply the warm toned bronzers to my nose because I find there's just not enough space there and it can get a little bit too messy. If I find that my nose is looking a little bit too cool or gray toned from all that contouring, I'll kind of just go with my bronzer and do a little light dusting kind of over the tip of the nose right before I apply my highlighter, which you will see later. It kind of helps to show off that highlighter a little bit as well. Just going into that contour on the forehead as well, and I'm blending that quite far down. Now this shade is when I kind of start adding a little bit of color to the neck, but never on my jawline. I like my jaw to look quite sharp. And this you can do quite messy. Next, one of my favorite bronzers as well is this bronzer by The Balm. It's called Balm Beach. You're gonna see I've used it a lot as well. It's just a really nice, it's a warm but more, I guess, rosy or peachy bronzer. And it's not super, super bright. So you can kind of use it as your transition shade going into a blush. I really kind of pack this color onto the brush and then really use that to blend out and blend all my contour shades and bronzing shades together. And I do like to put a little bit of this on my nose. I find this shade works really nicely with my skin tone, so I kind of go ham with this color. Okay, and next, just to add a little bit of color, I am going to go into my Kat Von D Fetish palette. This palette features quite a few very bright colored blushes and highlights. Today I'm going to be going into the blush color Salem, and I might be using the corresponding highlighter called Magic as well later, but we'll see. You never know where the world's gonna take us, right? So this is quite a pigmented blush, so I'm just going to very lightly tap into the color Salem with the same brush. I want all these colors to blend really nicely together, so I don't care if some of the colors get into the other colors and match together or whatever. It shouldn't really get muddy because they're all not far from each other in the color family, if that makes sense. There are some cool and warm colors, but none of them are too contrasted or drastically different. Applying this color to the cheekbones and then just very lightly blending up. I don't like my blush to be too harsh. I like the contouring, and I like to be a little bit harsher myself. Again, to each their own. I love this color so much. It's a really nice, very matte peach color. It is quite bright though. You can see that just really adds nice pop of color warmth to the skin as compared to this side. I'll apply a little bit of this. I don't like to apply my blush only in one area, so sometimes I'll drag it just a little bit, like on the chin and just in blusher areas, I guess. It helps to tie the whole look together when you're using the same colors or colors in the same color family all around the face. Now that I've basically had most of my powder and face products applied, I am going to go in with my Dewy Finish setting spray again. It is going to help the highlighter to kind of adhere to the face and to appear much stronger when it is applied. So you don't want to soak your face ever with the spray. Just a light mist to the point where your entire face is going to feel consistently saturated. Give it a little bit of a quick dry. And another little trick I do to make your highlighter look just that much more vibrant, just that much more is I take a liquid highlighter, which I apply before my powder highlighters. The one I'm going to use today is by Milk Makeup. It is their Liquid Strobe in the shade Beam. Beam. It's kind of, you might be able to read it. Beam. Beam. Okay, so this product can get a little messy, so I usually just try to apply a small amount to the back of my hand and then go in with my finger and apply just a very, very small amount to the highest parts of my cheekbones, being very careful not to disrupt the makeup under the setting spray that we've applied. And then I also like to apply a little bit to the Cupid's bow of my lips and also the absolute tip of my nose and just the sharpest part of my bridge. Okay, next I'm going to go in with my favorite highlighter at the moment, which is the ColourPop Super Shock highlighter from their Disney Villains collection. I got the color Hades. I believe that's what it's actually called. You can see mine's a little bit beat up already because when I use highlighter, I kind of like dig into the color a little bit because I really want it on though, so that's my bad. That's just my bad. But it's a beautiful, beautiful, just satin iridescent highlighter. It has peach and pink undertones to it with quite a bit of gold as well. So I'm just gonna apply that to the very tops of my cheekbones. Look at that. It's nice because it has a really nice shimmer to it and a duochrome, but it doesn't have the micro glitter in it, which I do like in a lot of highlighters, but not necessarily for my overall highlighter all over my face. So I do go in quite heavy with that color. I am using a very dense shader brush. You can see it's like on its last limbs. And I'm not too precise with this. I like to have a quite dewy look when I do my makeup, so I go pretty heavily with this product. Tiny bit to my chin, my nose. I don't like to put any on my forehead because my forehead is the one part of my face that does get somewhat oily. I like to apply it more like above my brow bone. Okay, and now that that highlighter is applied, I am just going to go in with that Kat Von D highlighter in Magic that is from the Fetish palette, corresponding with the blush we use named Salem, because I don't know, I just want a little bit extra pop. I'm not gonna apply quite as much as I did with that color because I do really like the finish it gives, but I do want to add just a little bit of micro glitter just to the highest parts of the cheekbone, and it does add a little bit more of a like peachy tone as well. Sorry, I just may have blinded you slightly. Or was it my cheeks? So, why did you just sound like a turkey? I just almost dropped the palette. Was that a just reaction? Probably not. I'm going to go in with a, I don't know what you would call this. It's an eyeshadow brush, and I'm just gonna dip into that color very lightly. It is a very soft, loose highlighter, so you can easily kind of like the other one, dig into it, so be careful, be mindful. And I'm just applying that right to the absolute very, 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 very tips of my cheekbones. You can see that adds so much more reflection and just that perfect amount of lovely. Okay, now that I am sufficiently gleaming, I'm gonna start my eyebrows. Now, this I have proven to be very bad at filming. Work with me, people, please. I'm doing my best. Let's zoom you in. Let's try at least. Oh, hello. My favorite eyebrow pencil that I use at the moment is my NYX Professional Makeup Precision Brow Pencil in the shade Ash Brown. So, one end has a spoolie and one end has a pencil, a flat pencil. Beautiful. First, I'm going to brush through my long hairs. And then I basically just follow my natural brow line. I make them quite thick and just fill in any sparse areas. And then I draw almost some fake hairs here, and then I almost blend it all together. You'll see. I'm probably not gonna speak very much while I do this because I need to focus. Okay, so these are like the initial lines I put down. And then I kind of just follow the rest of it. Simple, easy, right? Some people are probably watching this like, or some people are watching this like, hey, I know how to do my eyebrows, shut up. Boom. Okay, and then at this point, I haven't really filled in this area of my eyebrows because I like that to be lighter. So I just go in with a fair amount of pressure with this brush and try to blend all the pencil marks that I kind of made earlier into the skin slightly so it doesn't look too harsh. And if it gets a little messy, that's okay. You can always clean it up with concealer later. And then lastly, I go in with that pencil, I hold it vertically and just draw some hairs. Now, because I didn't set the concealer on my eyelids, only under the eyes, this allows me to still apply a cream product under the brow without disrupting the powder and creating a mess. So I'm just gonna go in with a liquid concealer, cream concealer, and just clean up that line. This also helps to conceal any stray hairs if you're in between waxes or if you don't wax. See how much cleaner that can make the eyebrow look? And if you need a little bit more concealer in that kind of inner corner, now's a good time. And then just a little bit right here, blending into the forehead. Just for consistency here. Okay, and now we're just gonna set that all with powder. So I'm just taking this flat, fluffy eyeshadow brush and setting all that concealer we just put down with my infallible L'Oreal powder. Now, in order to close this part of the nose and bring it together with the contour, I'm just gonna take my Hoola bronzer and apply it slightly, just in this area, to create a little bit of shadow. Okay, and then lastly for brows, I'm going to take my L'Oreal Paris Brow Stylist Boost and Set Volumizing Brow Mascara. I use this in the color Light Brunette. Looks like this, comes out a little spoolie, beautiful. Just brush these I'm brushing this through the hairs ever so slightly. Now getting on to eyes. Because I applied that peach like blush, I want to go more warm on the eyes. So I am going to use my Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette. I know there's controversy about Jaclyn Hill and whatever, but you know, whatever. I like the palette, I'm going to use it. So first I'm starting with a clean blending brush, and I'm going to go in, I don't know what these shades are called. Okay, that's my beef on Jaclyn Hill. I got the first release of the palette, so I don't got none of the names. I got that card, but I'm pretty sure I gave it to my best friend because I ordered 2 palettes together and they only gave me 1 card, and I got hers for her birthday, so obviously she gets the card, not me. Anyway, I'm going into this shade. It's the 3rd shade in the palette. It's a really nice, warm, slightly pink toned brown. And I'm applying that into, and again, like I said, I am a very kind of place and then blend type artist, so bear with me. Placing that into the crease quite heavily. And then from the eye line here, I'm going to drag up to create a cat eye. And this has been kind of what I've been wearing every day. And then doing the same to the other eye. This dog, man. I love dogs, but this dog. Okay, and now that I have that all placed and they look quite even, I'm gonna go in and now blend with windshield wiper motions on the eye, being quite sloppy to be honest. And then brushing up and in to the crease. You see? So this area I'm always brushing up. This area I'm always kind of transitioning into the crease, and here I'm doing windshield wiper motions. That's pretty well the whole look. So now we're gonna work our way down the palette into the darker warm brown shades and basically just keep this same general shape, but continue to deepen the look. First, I'm going to take that same shade that I just used, run that under the eye, and connect it with this wing shape that we're creating. Next, I'm going to go into this deeper pink toned warm brown shade right here. It's about there on the palette for anyone who owns it. For anyone who doesn't, that's what it looks like if you have something similar that you would like to use in order to create this look. So, and the shower turns on. Okay, so I'm going in with that color with the same brush and basically doing the same thing, but just blending it out slightly less and applying slightly less color, product, powder going in. Pulling up. You always want the deepest part of your eyeshadow to be right here, sort of in your crease towards the outer corner. Now I do want to keep this look somewhat soft, so this may be the last shade I use, other than possibly going into just one more deeper shade to define, but we'll kind of see how that goes. Yeah, so lastly I'm just gonna go in with, let's see here. I'm gonna mix that shade with this shade here, which looks slightly cooler, so it might appear a little bit darker. I wonder if Dystopian is warmer than I think. I just need something a little bit darker here, so I'm gonna have to reach for another color in this palette. I do like what that slightly cooler shade is adding though. It's not by any means a cool shade, it's just cooler than this shade. I'm gonna run a little bit of that under the eye, that pinky, not the cooler one, just to reconnect it to that wing shape we're creating. Now lastly, I'm going to take this deep brown, still kind of pinky toned shade and apply that just in the parts that I want to be the darkest in the eyeshadow. So you'll kind of see. And I'm taking a new brush. This one's slightly smaller and slightly denser. So this is where we're really kind of defining that wing shape. You don't want to bring it too far out before you blend. It will kind of blend out quite far. And then I am going to connect it just down here. You can see I'm bringing it slightly onto the outer corner of the top lid, but not too far in. And I'm also not bringing it too far down into the lower lash line because I want the upper lid to be the main focus. Okay. So again, I'm placing before I blend. It's looking good. So now I'm going to go back in. Okay, so the shape and everything is looking good. I'm liking the tone. I'm liking everything. So I'm going to go in with the old brush that I used and just blend that all out. Using the same motions we did with all the shades before, the windshield wiper motion here, the pulling up motion here, and then the circular transition kind of motion here. And I'm also just blending that slightly under the eye, again, not deepening it too far. Okay, let's pick a lid shade. I definitely want to put a shimmer on the lid. Okay, yes, okay. So let's go in first with this shimmer shade I have here. Again, don't know what it's called. It's here on the palette. It is a I'm gonna say medium tone, slightly warmer. It has like, I guess mocha almost undertones to it. It's a warmer kind of mocha light brown, I guess. See, a lot of these have duochrome in them as well, especially the shimmer, so it's kind of hard to like pinpoint the exact color. But anyway, that color I'm going to apply right here where the darker shade would transition into the lid. Okay, so I let that color cover the majority of the lid. And then next I'm going to go into just that color that is next to it. Again, I don't know what it's called. It's this color here. Basically the same undertones to it, but just a brighter, lighter version of the same type of shimmer. And I'm just applying that into the inner third of my lid. And I'm just pressing it in, and it should blend in nicely with the other colors. And then lastly, for my inner corner color, I am just going to dip into my Anastasia Beverly Hills. I am just going to dip into my Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. And I am going to use one of my favorite colors in the whole world, which is Pearl. It's right here. You can see I've dipped into it quite a bit. And I'm going to take my pinky and put that right into the inner corner of my eye. Just there. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, we're almost done. Lastly, for eyes, I have a little, just extra added sparkle. So, where did I put it? Oh, I just rubbed my makeup on my pants. I always say I'm not gonna do it, and then I just do it. I just don't want it on my hands anymore. And I don't like to use makeup wipes because they're bad for the environment. Okay. Now, lastly for eyes, I am going to be taking my ColourPop Glitterally Obsessed Hopeless Romantic Body Glitter. I'm going to apply that right into the inner corner of my eye. You can see it is a very, unbelievably beautiful duochrome glitter gel, whatever. Oh my god, my camera's dying. Okay. I'm going to apply that into the inner corner of my eye. I mean, I guess it's not that big of a deal if I need to. I don't think I've used this one yet, actually. This one has little hearts in it. So I'm just taking this kind of angled eyeliner brush, and I'm applying that right into the inner corner of my eye. Blending it slightly onto the lid, but not enough to be actually onto the lid. Okay, well, apparently I also need to buy a new battery for my camera as well because it died. Literally, I have not filmed a YouTube video without it dying, so I'll have to get an extra battery so that I can swap them out if this ever happens again. Not sure if the camera caught it. I'm pretty sure it did, but I did apply that glitter into the inner corner of my eye, just subtly. I also went ahead and took the liberty of applying a mascara. I used my favorite Better Than Sex mascara by Too Faced, and also I applied a eyeliner stamp by The Body Shop that I wear every day over a mole that I have here, just because I think it looks cute. To be fair, I also did eat some pizza in the meantime, but YouTube magic, you would have never known that hadn't I told you, so tricked ya, gotcha. Lastly, just to finish this makeup look all up, tie everything together, I'm going to use the remainder of my Disney Villains collection set that I got from ColourPop. These are both of the rest of the set from the Hades collection. It is a lipstick and also an ultra glossy lip. The lipstick is called, it's just called Hades again. It's this really nice nude, it's this really nice nude color with peach undertones. This has, I believe, a matte finish. So I'm just going to apply this first to my lips. Maybe I should use a mirror. So this is a lip color on its own. Really, really pretty. This is like actually my everyday lip color. I've been wearing this every single day since I got it. I just think it's really flattering on my skin tone, and I'm a big fan of peach undertones as well. So there's our base for lips, and then because this is more of a dewy, glittery, shimmery look, and I do like that finish more myself, I am going to apply the Ultra Glossy Lip as well. This is called Hot Headed. It comes with a brush. One of those kind of like almost sticky, but more, it almost feels like it has a silicone-y finish to it, so it's not gonna like stretch and stick when you're wearing it, but it is quite smooth on the lips. While providing still a lot of coverage. You do definitely feel like there's something on your lips, but personally I like lip glosses like that over something like a lip oil or a lip tint. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this right over the lipstick. It smells really good, like vanilla. Okay, so now for those of you who stuck around, lastly, just to finish this all off, I'm going to do one more application of the setting spray. Again, just like before, just enough to saturate the face consistently, not to soak it. Whew. Okay. And with that, we are done. We'll do a close-up on everything in a moment, but what do we think? I'm hoping this is a tutorial that people will be able to follow at home kind of with the colors that you have. But I am obsessed with this look. This is basically what I've been wearing every single day. I love the peach undertones in this look, and I think the amount of shimmer and shine and sparkle we have is a really great asset, and I think it looks really beautiful. By concealing in specific areas, we can keep parts of our skin that we like and that we want to shine through, like things like freckles and beauty marks and things of that nature. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, feel free to give me a thumbs up, and also feel free to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And also, if you like me and you like this platform, feel free to follow me on my other platforms. I'm pretty active on Instagram and Twitter. If you would like to follow me on those platforms, I will probably put them on the screen somewhere and also link them below so that they'll be easy for you to find. And with that, stay cool, kids. I'll see you next time.